Chapter 31. It was another cold day. Every day in this wretched prison island was. Bellatrix was trying to get warmth into her numb hands. Rodolphus and Sebastian were sleeping while trying to keep warm themselves. It was hard when the sun didn't reach this part of the world. The small family had been there for over a decade, and Bellatrix was worried about her baby. He would be in his 4th year of Hogwarts, and she missed his first year. The shopping for school supplies, him getting his first dark wand, him getting sorted into his house and writing home about it. Bellatrix began to cry at the missed moments with her baby boy. Bella? Rodolphus came up to his mate and kissed her forehead. He also grieved the loss of his son. Sebastian missed it too. All the things he had wanted to teach the boy. The 3 mates cried together over the loss till a warm sensation came from their marks on their arms. With shock, they watched as the mark darkened on their pale arms. The snake seemed bigger than before. "He's back," Bellatrix laughed. She was a member of the Lord Voldemort's elite, and her husbands were members of the Inner Circle. "We will be by his side soon." The 3 were certain that their lord would not leave them to rot in this hellhole of a prison. A week later, they felt the dark magic of their lord and his mates. Time for revenge on those who took their baby boy from them. Harry watched as Tom and Sirius snuck into the cells. They exploded the doors off their hinges and released some of the most dangerous witches and wizards of all time. Bellatrix saw Harry and hugged him, before launching herself at her cousin. "Sirius! Bella!" They hugged, and he handed her walnut dragon heartstring wand. "You'll need this to find your son." The witch cackled like the crazy person she is. "I'm going to find my baby and kill the scum who took him from us." Bellatrix was pulled over to a portkey along with her husbands. "Sissy! Bells!" The sisters embraced each other and cried together before Alpha forced them to separate so they could heal the escapees. It was hard to keep them all warm. Some of them had to be put into a magical coma to heal damage to their magical cores, and some had to be healed for broken bones and other ailments. That hadn't been healed because the Aurors decided not to call the healers for the prisoners. The biggest issue was malnourishment. Narcissa and Alpha worked in perfect harmony. They were becoming fast friends and shared healing tips and tricks. "Harry, tell Severus we need more blood replenishing potions and some nutrition potions." The green-eyed boy nodded, and his cat ears perked up in happiness, and he ran to find his dad. "Dad, Alpha and Aunt Cissa need some blood replenishers and nutrition potions." The boy was met with a chuckle, and his eyes were covered by a grey tail that belonged to his dad. "Dragon, we need those, but we can't let your brother see his gift too early." Severus kissed his son's head lightly and fixed the bows on his black cat ears. "Tom did them for me. Do you like them?" Harry smiled when his dad showed him the small potion charms on his own grey ears. "Your papa and father got these for me when I made my potions mastery." Harry and Draco hugged their dad and then ran to give the potions to the healers. Sirius had to return to Grimmauld Place. Dumbledore had heard of the escape and called an emergency order meeting. "Tommy, I can't find Sirius." Tom saw his youngest mate and smiled when the boy climbed into his lap. "Hey, kitten, make yourself comfortable," he chuckled as Harry pouted and kissed his hand. "I will, thank you." Harry huffed and wrapped his tail around Tom's waist so he wouldn't fall off. Sirius had to go to Dumbledore. He called an emergency meeting because of the escape. Harry turned scared to Tom. "Don't worry, kitten. Puppy will be safe. Dumbledore and the Order of the Flaming Chickens can't hurt him." Sirius was Harry's godfather, as well as his mate, and it made the little Nico scared of losing him. "What if they find out about us and use him to get to us?" Tom hugged Harry tighter. His little kitten had known too much loss in his short life. They won't. Dumblefuck thinks you are with your relatives, and no one gives a flying fuck where they are. Harry giggled and Tom kissed the cat ears. Remus and Finria want to talk to you about baby Hal, and Percy and Arthur are coming after the meeting along with the Demon Twins. Tom and all the Death Eaters called Fred and George Weasley the Demon Twins, since they were little demons. It was the twins that made many inventions that could hurt or make someone say embarrassing things. The twins were good at pranks. It was the one thing they couldn't fail at. It was impossible for them to fail at that. "Can I stay with you while you work?" Tom kissed his little kitten and nodded. "Can you help me with this?" Tom showed Harry the blueprints of the new dungeon he wanted to make. "What is this, Dom?" "These are the new dungeons I intend to make for those horrid muggles, blood traders, and that filthy mudblood who tried to kill my innocent kitten." Harry was almost in tears because no one had ever cared for him. No one else besides Sirius had truly cared. "Come, kitten. We have much planning to do, and I am certain that your Uncle Finria would love to start another tracking lesson." Harry smiled and laughed, running off to find Finria. Ever since the older werewolf had heard the full story of what had happened to the sweet Nico, he had promised to help the boy with anything his pack had taught him when he was a pup. "Uncle Finria!" Harry ran to the werewolf and talked to him. Running through the long hallways, Harry spent almost 20 minutes finding the door that led to the forest room. Finria used it to teach Harry all about different tracks and the animals that left them. "Hey, cub." Finria held out his hand and led Harry to the center of the room. "The Alpha before me taught me how to read the stars and find my way home." Finria laid on the grass next to Harry. "When you are out under the full moon, it is important for wolves to know where their pack lives and how to find them." Finria pulled Harry closer and wrapped his arms around the small boy. "How did you become Alpha?" Finria lost his smile and just pet the small black cat ears. "The Alpha was in need of help, and I fought off 20 fully grown rogue wolves of my own when I was only 14. Finria showed Harry some of the scars he had from the fight. "You're like me." Harry showed the older man his scars, the words carved into his flesh and the burn marks. These were marks he covered with glamour so that even Tom and Sirius hadn't seen them. Finria's anger at the muggles got worse, and he wanted to rip them to shreds. "They will never hurt you again," Finria promised, and he could only think that this could have been Remus or even Hal. This sweet little boy had been hurt too much. The older man had no idea how to deal with it. "The Dark Lord better do something soon, or I will kill those muggles, and I won't need a full moon," Finria thought as he began to teach the Nico how to read the stars and find his way home. Chapter 32. Finria saw Remus feeding baby Hal. Remus was singing softly to him. Remus was a natural. He was a perfect mum, and Finria loved how easy his husband made it look. "You are so hot when taking care of our son." Remus jumped and then saw who it was. "Thank you, love, but I have to disagree. How does having spit up and food in my hair make me look hot?" Remus put the baby in his crib and lightly kissed his head. "Good night, my sweet boy." Finria kissed his son's head and left with his husband back to their room. Finria led Remus to their room and helped him change into new clothes for bed. "I love you, Rem." Finria kissed his mate before picking him up. "Hey! I'm too big for you to pick me up. You're going to hurt yourself." Remus would never admit it, but he loved it when Finria picked him up. "You don't have to worry about me, little wolf. I am strong as ever." Finria was acting dramatic and dumped his husband on the bed. "Now, you owe me something sweet after being mean, darling." Remus blushed bright red. "Careful, you could make a tomato jealous." Finria loved making his husband blush, but he loved making him scream even more. Draco was sitting with Harry in the Slytherin common room, along with Pansy and Blaise. "So, have you guys finished your essay on dream interpretation?" Harry looked up from his book and smiled when Pansy blushed. It was well known that Pansy and Luna worked on the essay together, and most likely topless. "I have to come up with a dream. I don't think Professor Trelawney wants to know about my dreams of Neville." Blaise smiled when he saw Neville walk into the common room. "Hello, mi amor." Neville kissed his boyfriend before going to his room to feed his plants. "What's up with Neville?" Pansy shrugged and pulled Luna in for a kiss, and then went with her to their dorm room. "Neville had a few plants that need to be nurtured, and he treats them like they're his children." Blaise went after his boyfriend. Harry and Draco pulled the book closer and saw all the pranks they could do together. "Look at this! It would be perfect for old Dumley." Draco pointed to a page on exploding lemon drops. "If we do this, we are going to need to talk to Sirius and Dad to get Dumblefuck out of his office." Harry began to write down the ingredients they would need, and Draco went to the twins. They were always up for a prank, especially one on the headmaster and head of the Order of the Flaming Chickens. "We need these things, Daddy." Lucius was there and kissed Harry on the head before looking at the list. "What is this?" Severus smiled when he saw the list. It was made by him and James for a prank. "This is for exploding lemon drops. James and I made it for Albus." Severus went to get everything from his storeroom. He didn't want his sons to see him cry. The night they came up with this was the night they found the name of Harry in their History of Magic book, and James was adamant that they would name their first son Harry Severus Lucius Snape Malfoy Potter. "We have the best friends and best book," the twins said as they hugged Harry from behind. "We need to talk to Sirius to see if he can get the old man out of his office." Harry was given the ingredients and left with a hug from his dad and father. "Love you, Father. Love you, Daddy." Both Harry and Draco ran from the room and went back to their rooms with the twins to start on their little project. Severus and Lucius were sitting in their rooms. Lucius was reading the Daily Prophet, and Severus was grading papers. It was going to be hard but good for them now that James's old prank book had been found. Severus and James had spent hours writing in the journal. Lucius was into politics, and Severus had his potions, and James had his pranks, but James was the best at charms. It was what made the time move faster while he was in Godric's Hollow. "I love you, kitty cat," Lucius said, kissing Severus's cat ears before he went back to Malfoy Manor to see Narcissa and Barty. Barty and Narcissa were starting to be more than friends, and Lucius felt the need to protect his best friend and sister. "Don't let Tom see you. He will pull you into making a surprise for Harry and Sirius." Severus kissed Lucius goodbye and then went home to keep an eye on Barty and make sure he didn't do anything with Narcissa.